Video, we're going to have some fun watching some corporate cringe, looking at all the ridiculous teamwork, team socializing events that you typically have in most corporate environments. Many funny clips here, so let's get started with this one. This is some Walmart employee training. If you're watching from outside the US, Walmart is like the major grocery store that they have in America.
Come on, do this! Come on! Give me a W!
L!
A! R! T!
Z!
What's that spell?
Walmart!
I can't hear you!
Walmart!
Whose Walmart is it?
My Walmart!
Who's number one?
Customer always!
We're gonna be
Accident free!
source number one?
Yes, sir. So I really question, what's going on here, right? So firstly, one thing I realized is always one of two demographics who are in positions of corporate power, because everyone else get filtered out, right? If you're a masculine man, you typically see through the lies and either become a bit disillusioned and maybe end up at more junior ranks, or you find a way out and maybe set up your own business and do your own thing. And increasingly men are leaving the West because they're fed up with this type of environment, right? This kind of emasculated, infantilizing, domesticated environment that is treating men or just people in general as kind of children at work, right? And if you want to be in a leadership role as a man, typically you want an element of honor, dignity, self-respect, transparency or ownership. But a lot of these corporate roles, if you want to climb the corporate role, you typically be like a man like this, right? Either this kind of soy boy liberal bugman type of character as a man, or you'll be that kind of effeminate character, stereotypical character like this. I don't know how else to word it. Or you'd be a feminist type of woman, right? A girl boss, girl power type of woman. Everyone else kind of gets filtered out the hierarchy, one way or another. They'll say, oh, it's toxic masculinity, or they'll say, oh, that woman, she's not kind of playing by the game or the political game, or there's some ruthless cutthroat politics from the other woman to get rid of her. That's typically how it works, right? And it's really telling what type of personality end up in senior roles. Because I know if I ran a company, I would never hire someone like this as a senior role. I don't know his exact background, but he can't seem to think for himself. He's doing all these goofy rolling around on the floor with a company slogan. It really shows you how brainwashed a lot of people are to work their corporate jobs. So let's look at another clip of how bad it can really get. So it really raises the question of what type of personality really does get caught up in this. As I say, it's always that type of guy. It's always a certain type of woman, which we're going to cover soon, right? It's kind of like, it's like a set programming that if you'll get brainwashed enough, or you pretend to get brainwashed enough, you can get to some of those senior roles. And I think a lot of people, and I say this as nice as I can, like I say, a lot of people can see through the nonsense. And this woman who's walking off, you can see on the left side of the screen, right? She can see through it and she's like, oh, am I really going to have to participate in this? Even though maybe that's the job she'll have to do for the rest of her life. It's a bit too much. And it's just this level of cringe you have to deal with from senior management sometimes, and you've got to play along with it. That's what people are feeling like. This is emasculating beyond a point, or this is too cringe. It's not even just like, oh, you got to put up with some things at work, like difficult co-workers. It's really beyond that. It's like a level of ridiculousness.
Yeah, I got karaoke. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah. My name is Chelsea. Yeah. I love the Illini. Yeah. Orange and blue. Yeah. Because I'm an alumni. Shibuya. Yeah. Shibuya. My name is Bree. Yeah. I love food and travel. Yeah. And I love baseball. Yeah.
So another thing I want to say, like I said, this is the other demographic. We saw two instances of the men, so we're going to see some instances of the woman here, right? This type of girl boss caricature, and again, I don't want to make it all about race, but that I mentioned a few times before is AWFL, affluent white female liberal. And they kind of, again, have this infantilized version of daycare in the work, making everything kind of about making them the center of attention and singing along and playing with their ridiculous childishness. And like I say, it's very... What the work environment doesn't get is... I think this is alienating to all demographics and races, but I cannot speak on my behalf as someone who's Asian and speaking to other people of different races. This is particularly like socially taxing on us because it feels so cringe. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to live by my culture or my beliefs, but for example, just to contrast this with what a lot of people are thinking. I'm someone from an Asian background and we're very big on hierarchy, you know. If you really think about all it, not always done in the right ways, but if you think about the caste system, the respect for elders, the kind of rigid hierarchy of respect, you know, people who have certain, you know, who people are more accomplished compared to others. We have lots of, you know, ways of speaking to people, addressing them, even across other cultures, right? Calling people sir, ma'am. I think in Japanese culture, sometimes as a sign of respect, you end certain names with san, which is like a way of respect. In Indian culture, we use the word ji to refer to someone senior in that way. Now, typically we have this culture of respect based on, you know, people's achievements, based on the seniority. And when you're in this type of environment where hierarchy's been removed, everything's about equality, everything's about just a kind of ridiculous cringe, it's hard to respect other people, right? It's like, why are we participating in this? This is like beneath human dignity. And people don't mind working, I would say, to a certain extent. This kind of childish pedestalization of women, of like a BS corporate culture, it's not what most men want to be around. If you had an all-male work environment, it'd be very similar to the military, maybe with less shouting and things like that, because obviously that's going to set people off. But in a corporate environment, if you take out this cringe, this childishness, the feminism, you really have men who are just hyper efficient at getting work done, and they can be managed effectively, and then they just go home, right? And then you really would have, you know, reduced work hours because everything will get done efficiently without this ridiculousness. Now, the struggling thing is if HR and management pick up that you're kind of disillusioned and don't want to be around this type of nonsense, you're not attending company corporate events, you're not going to teamwork socials and going to the go-karting event. I always skip these events. Go-karting, wine tasting, all these type of team events, the absolute cringe, shuffleboard, paddle, things like that, right? If you don't go to these, this is sorted by the management, HR, that you're not fitting in with the company culture, you're not a team player, things like this, it will be held against you. So manager and HR are always watching employees carefully during these sessions. That's why you usually either pretend to participate or kind of be quiet, but, you know, somewhat engaged. It's just too much to really deal with, right? And it's really people don't understand, these companies don't understand that after a point you're just going to drive people away, and people are already being driven away by, you know, low salaries and things like that. And the next clip we're going to look at is around Hertz. Hertz is a car rental company in America, and let's listen to this kind of rap that they're going to do.
Hertz and it's so good. So when you need a woman without all of the drama, because we would be honored. We work hard so that you can play harder. Just don't bring a jack smelling like marijuana. Hertz so good. Hertz.
So that's a very short clip there, right? But this is what happens to cringe corporate culture, because they're not like a real culture. It's not really based on like reality. Some of these companies, I don't know, to what extent actually profit driven or just being backed up by, you know, the deep state, if we want to use that phrase. It really makes me wonder, because there's so much time wasting, so much waste of resources, and some of these investment banks also is like, what's going on here? Like, how much are you making that you can waste all these time and energy and resources and stuff like this? Because it depends what company you're at, but some companies have so much of this nonsense. Now, what they do in these corporate cultures, because they lack a real culture, they find whatever's going on in trending culture, whether it's rap music or Taylor Swift or whatever else, and they try to force it into company culture or team events to make it seem relevant and hip or up to date. So you'd have like a company that will make a rap, like this car rental company making a rap that everyone's got to sing along with. That's just like, you can see people feel uncomfortable. I mean, it's not just me saying this, right? You can see it on your screen. And it reaches the point where it's just beyond me, right? I remember having to go to a company or a team brunch in Christmas Eve. We had to go to a team brunch and I had to listen to a middle-aged white woman talking about twerking. It was just ridiculous. I was like, how do I have to sit here and deal with this? And I remember before they went for that Christmas Eve brunch, I was at my desk working and they were like, Sajan, do you not want to come? And I was like, oh, I'd prefer to be working. Oh, everyone else is going, you have to go. I really dreaded it. It was like an hour to an hours listening to a middle-aged woman talking about reality TV shows and all these type of things. And it's like, as a man, it's like never clear what you can say, what you can't say. Everything has to be kind of in their favor and whatever interests them. It's just ridiculous. I don't want to be around these type of people. And then I remember going to kind of company Christmas events, things like that. Typically stuff I'd avoid. I'll make some videos on that as the kind of holiday season picks up around October, November, December. You'd have like, again, you know, the same type of demographics, you know, getting drunk, being inappropriate, and you're just like, oh, do I have to really be here? Because anything that these women get away with, no one's got anything. The company's not going to do anything. But if a man says something slightly politically incorrect, it's going to be leveraged against him to destroy his career. So what these companies could do, like if you're looking at the car rental company on your screen right now, is they should take these resources and give employee benefits. What could that be? It could be, you know, having this is a car company, so you could give people the benefits of having a discount on their car rentals. That will really encourage employees to be there because many people rent their cars now, right? There could be other instances where they could give benefits where employees wearing Hertz merchandise could go and volunteer in the local community. Those things are actually things that will raise the brand value of Hertz, this car rental company. See, there's so many smarter ways of doing this, but it's just like these people who are in management roles, they're so detached from employees, they have no idea what they're dealing with or what they're considering as a good use of time and energy. So I just have showed you another short clip of a healthcare company, right? Now, when you're in this an employee, how are you meant to respond to this, right? It's so embarrassing. It's like a humiliation ritual. You have to be there just to earn an income. You're just there to get the work done. But this is how detached, like I say, the management are from you. They think it's a company party that you go to. I remember going to a company party after some job cuts, and you know, they would do all these type of things where they'd have a free company meal when there's low morale, all this ridiculous stuff, right? It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's like, how can you not make basic, you know, smart decisions on how to treat your employees if you are in a management role? And it really does raise the question if these people are genuine psychopaths, that they don't understand this. Now, as I say, how could companies improve their corporate culture, you know, instead of being so cringe, and instead of, you know, reducing, you know, the employees' self-respect and putting them through humiliation rituals? Loads of employee benefits they could give, you know, extra time off work, like I say, volunteering with a company logo on their example, things like that, you know, offering some kind of healthy lunch or things like that, rather than just wasting their time standing in the sun like this, right? I remember having to basically cheer on, you know, middle management who are going on long bike rides for charities and things like that. Some of those things just seemed ridiculous to me, but, you know, people can do what they want to do. It's like, what was kind of weird to me is that, like, senior management would tell me if I don't participate in some of these corporate events, like the company bike run, the company bike ride, the company, you know, charity run, that it'll be that it just doesn't reflect well on me, that I'm participating in company culture. And I remember a very kind of tense meeting where my manager was giving me feedback that, you know, this type of company that you're working for, I was working at one of these investment banks, I won't name which one here. He was saying, this isn't the type of place where you come here, you work and leave. And it's just like, what did he mean by that? And what he really meant by that is that, if you're coming to work, you should be socializing a lot with co-workers. You should be friends with them. You know, many very questionable decisions that get made at investment banks, people don't discuss it on email. They don't discuss it on the chat function of their, you know, the MS Teams, things like that. A lot of those very tense, difficult situations, as I say in my videos about manufacturing narratives, they would discuss it off the desk in a private meeting or in the cigarette section, right, where people smoke outside the office. So lots of people go to the smoking section and network and improve their career prospects through doing that. And that's kind of how ridiculous it is in the corporate world now, not about the work you're doing. I remember many instances of that where these things are basically, they're make or break for your career. It should be your work. It should be genuine output, but this is what it's become. The whole collapse of Western civilization really can be seen through stuff like this. That might sound a bit dramatic, but it's like you're valuing all the wrong things. You're valuing equality over hierarchy. You're valuing superficial presentation of someone who's looking busy and professionalism over productivity and profitability. This is how ridiculous society's become. Now, forcing people to be together, forced socialization, it actually creates demoralization because lots of people are very aware of their free speech being restricted, particularly as a man, cancel culture, having the wrong opinion. It feels like a trap. I always felt like when I was in this environment, this corporate cringe, as funny as it can be and ridiculous as it is, it's like, okay, this is a trap. I have to be extra careful what I say, what I do, how that can be leveraged against me, how a little one comment today in a workplace drink session could turn into a woman, having an outburst negatively against me or against a male employee in the workplace environment. And people are abundantly aware of this type of dynamic, so it's so ridiculous. And I look forward to the continued collapse of these corporations as they continue to push away good, hardworking employees who opt for other options. Now, if you want some genuine career advice in this crazy corporate environment with all this cringe where you're not sure how to really progress your career and make more money and really do well, reach out to me for career advice. There is a link in description. I can speak with you directly and give you something that will really help you in and navigate your unique career path. So link in description if you want to speak with me. Let me know in the comments any cringe incidents at your workplace. There are 2 recommended videos on your screen right now, and I'll see you next time.